There is a distance in the light, vibrations of a thundercloud. There is a distance in the light, frozen bed of snow-capped heights. There is a distance in the light, vibrations of a thundercloud.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and this is the My Sober Addiction podcast. And of course, dear loved ones, we are happy. We are healthy. We are wealthy. We are loved. And man, are we free. Well, loved ones, I mentioned in the last episode that I have not been releasing podcast episodes on the regular basis as I should. Because, you know, when you first get into podcasting, when you start researching it, looking into it, what all does it entail? What kind of equipment do you need? Yada, yada, yada. All that. And then the experts will tell you that the most important thing is to remain consistent, to stay on a schedule and all that. And I can see why that is very good advice. Of course, if you want to build an audience, you must be consistent. You have to be dependable. They have to know when you're going to be there. And I understand that. I do. It makes perfect sense. However, dear loved one, as I mentioned before, addicts in particular, and I know this might be me being a little biased, okay? Right? I love addicts. I toot our horns a little bit, a lot, I guess, but whatever. It's okay. We can do that here. But it's like addicts in particular really have a strong BS detector, right? Our BS meters are off the hook. We can spot BS from a very long way away. You're not going to get over on a addict very much. And I know that there are some normies who are going to be like, excuse me, Matt, my BS detector is pretty sharp too. I'm like, I'm sure it is. That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not. I'm speaking to addicts here. Of course, I could be speaking to the loved ones of addicts. I understand that. In fact, I hope I am. I hope that there are some people who are listening to this who are not addicts, but they are the loved ones of an addict or who's hopefully in recovery. And you are here trying to maybe understand the addict's mind a little bit better, or be able to understand where they're coming from, or how to relate, or whatever. But with regards to that, I will tell you, we don't necessarily need you, dear loved one. We don't need you to relate per se. It's nice that you would like to. You want to understand, and that is fantastic. We appreciate that. But we also understand that you really can't understand. And that's a good thing, you know. It's like when my dad once, when I was very new to recovery one time, he said, well, you know, son, it's simple. Just don't ever do it again. I'm like, well, okay, yeah, it is that simple. You're not wrong. You're not. It is really that simple. However, it's also that complicated. So, I'm like, Dad, I don't know how to explain it to you. It's not that simple. I wish it was. I don't know how to explain it to you. You're never going to get it. And I'm glad you don't get it, because the only way you can truly understand what it's like is to have been here, to be the addict, right? So, like, yeah, I feel like I'm most likely speaking for all addicts when I say we don't really want you to try to get on the level with us. We just want you to just be you. Just support us and just keep being you, right? That's what we need from you, really. So anyway, but I had been, when we start researching, getting back to the podcast thing, when we start researching podcasting, that's one of the big pieces of advice, is to remain consistent. But, dear loved one, as I said, I can't get on here and just wing it, okay? I can't come on here and BS my way through an episode, because you're going to pick up on it. You're going to know it. And I cannot risk I can't risk being less than 100% authentic. Authenticity is king with most people, but particularly with addicts in recovery, because we can spot that BS. If somebody's kind of winging it, kind of just putting out an episode just to stay on schedule, we're going to pick up on that, and we're not going to appreciate it. And I feel like, dear loved one, I respect you enough to not do that. I mean, I like to think that counts for something, right? I hope that counts for something with you, dear loved one. It's like, well, okay, fine. Maybe he's not been consistent lately, and I will get back to being consistent. But still, it's like, maybe he's not been consistent lately. All right. But at least he's being authentic. So there's that. Anyway, yeah. So I was like, I did that recent episode where I was talking about how, well, I haven't been around, but I've been very distracted with other things, right? But that's just kind of how it was. So my recent inconsistency, if anything, that's been consistent, right? It's like I'm spurts of consistency. If you're not a University of Kentucky basketball fan, you probably don't understand that. But we had a player once who was doing a radio interview, and he said, we are starting to show spurts of consistency. And years later, that's still kind of a joke. It's kind of funny, spurts of consistency. Anyway, so I am consistently being inconsistent lately. But at least I am remaining authentic. I'm remaining true to self, right? So authenticity is very important to us. But I also thought, wait a minute. So you're going to encourage people to be authentic. Okay. But you're also going to recommend that when they get sober, they have a reinvention of self. It's like, well, that's not exactly being authentic, is it? You're basically encouraging people to adopt a new persona, to change who they are, to become a different person. Well, that's not exactly authentic, is it, Matt? To which I say, well, I guess if you look at it that way, no, it's not. But what we've got to realize, dear loved one, is when we get sober, when we got clean, we have to do that. We can't keep being the same person that we've been when we were in active addiction. It's like you kind of hope that maybe you'll run into somebody a year or two after the fact and they'll think, wow, you've really changed. Good. Like, very good. I hope I have, because that's what we're working on. We're trying to change and become better versions of ourselves. But getting back to the reinvention of self, right? Self reinvention, adoption of a new persona, even. That's one of the things that's beautiful about getting sober. It's like, well, okay, I've been an addict for so long, right? I've been around all these shady people, be it other addicts or maybe drug dealers, and all these shady situations, shady places, just a whole bunch of shadiness. And I don't want to think that necessarily I was shady, but of course we all did some shady things back then, didn't we? Right? We did. We did. But thankfully, we don't have to be that way anymore, right? It's like that. It's like in NA. You don't have to live that way anymore, or whatever it is. That's pretty much what it is. So anyway, it's like we get a chance to become a new person. We get a chance to redefine who we are. It's like, okay, that's awesome. So what do you want to be then? So who are you now? That can cause a little anxiety. That question can. Because when we face ourselves with that question, when we pose that question to ourselves, it's like, oh, damn, I don't know. I don't know. I've been that for so long that I don't know what else there is to be. If I'm not going to be that, which I can't be, then what am I? It can cause some anxiety. And then some people might think, well, I'll go back to being who I was before addiction. right? It's like, well, I guess that's sure. Okay, let's explore that for a minute. The person you were before addiction, I don't think you can return to. I mean, even if you could, I don't think you should, because that person was, for whatever reason, found drugs, and it fixed something going on in their life, right? We don't all become drug addicts because we were just getting high or just partying, right? That's not the case. And we know that because we know people that we used to use with who weren't really addicts. They could just party, right? They could just get some drugs for the weekend, have a good time, and then, Sunday night be like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I got to get cleaned up and get up tomorrow morning and go to work. And that was it, right? And it's like, well, wow. And meanwhile, those of us who are active addicts are like, how the hell do you do that? It's like, I get it that you got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Okay, fine. That part, we can get that. But how can you do that without drugs? How can you do that without getting high first? Right? We just don't get it. That does not compute. Right? So we knew people like that. We all partied with them from time to time. I had one of my dearest friends was that way. Every so often, he'd be like, yeah, man, let's get some dope, and I'll do some dope with you this weekend. Okay, cool. So we would, but maybe after like 2 days, he'd be done. Yeah, he'd be done. He'd be like, well, all right, man, that was fun. Till next time. Now I'm like, okay. I mean, it just boggled my mind. Of course, a lot of things boggled my mind then. Like, I could be sitting in traffic and just, let's say, sitting at a red light and look to the person in the car next to me and be fairly reasonably confident that that person is not actively addicted to drugs. And it would be like, how do you do it? I would look at people, or just, people watch it at the park or at the mall or anywhere. But I could just look at normies and just be like, and just be baffled. Just look at them and be like, wow, how do you do it? How do you get through your day without using drugs? I mean, how do you get through your day without having to get high or whatever? I mean, if you're truly an addict, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm saying. I mean, I can imagine a big collective, bunch of heads nodding right now, thinking, yes, yeah, I don't understand. I never could understand how people could do that. And of course, they look at us and think we're crazy. It's like, how do you live your life? You got to have drugs every day. It's like, I don't know. I just do. Same way as you don't, right? It's literally the same thing. It's literally the same mindset. The same mindset of you don't need drugs is the same mindset of an addict, and active addiction, of course, does need drugs. It's the same thing. It's like breathing air. It really is like that. But so now that we can't be that way anymore, I'm still getting back to this whole redefining yourself. So now that we can't be that guy anymore, now we've got to try to figure out how to be like these normies, right? Now we got to figure out how to be that guy in traffic that is just trying to get home from work, and he didn't use drugs all day, didn't need drugs all day, won't need drugs tomorrow either, right? We're that guy, and it feels pretty damn good, doesn't it? It's like, man, how awesome is it that I wake up in the morning and I'm not dope sick? That's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, the feeling is truly unbelievable when you wake up in the morning and you realize I'm not dope sick. I don't have to go hustle and get dope. Isn't that awesome? But yet it's like, okay, so that's who I was for however many years I was in active addiction. So now who am I going to be? What am I going to fill my day with now? It's like, well, first of all, you need to get a job. There's that. You got to go to work. Okay, fine. You're right. All right. But it's like, okay, besides that, who am I going to be now? It's like, well, you can be anything. What have you always thought was really cool? I mean, that's one of the nice things about this. It's like, who's somebody you admire? What's the type of person you always wished you could have been? It's like, well, I've always wanted to be like the outdoorsy type. It's like, okay, so you want to like go camping and stuff? Well, maybe not camping, but hiking for sure. It's like, okay, what's stopping you from being that guy now? You don't have to chase drugs anymore all the time. So you got plenty of time to do that now. You could definitely start hiking, right? It's like, yeah, I'm going to be an outdoorsy guy now. Sure. Instead of just a drug addict who's always sitting in parking lots of shopping centers or apartment complexes waiting for my dope man to get here. I mean, it's amazing how much time we have on our hands now, right? It really is. In fact, I read a statistic. I should have looked it up. But there was a statistic once I saw of how much time addicts spend just sitting in cars or sitting somewhere waiting for their drug dealer to show up. Right? I mean, like where I'm from, it was a running joke of, hey, yeah, I'm pulling in now. Can't you see my headlights? You know, it's always, can't you see my headlights? It's like, no, I can't. Meaning you could be sitting waiting literally for hours for your dope man to show up, knowing he's 15 minutes away. And you call him for the third time. Dude, what is going on? Where you at? I'm pulling in now, man. Can't you see my headlights? And you're looking in the direction of the entrance of the apartment complex that you're sitting in. You've been sitting in for hours. And you're like, no, I don't. I don't see any headlights. He's like, man, I'll be there in a minute, man. I mean, right? So now that we don't have to do that anymore, you got plenty of time to go hiking. Think of how good of a hike you could have gotten just that one time. Those one times you were sitting in parking lots waiting. Right? So you got plenty of time for that kind of thing. It's like, well, Matt, I always like to write. It's like, okay, well, be a writer. You got plenty of time for that. It's amazing how much time we have now. And we've always admired something about, it's like, ooh, I always admired this guy because he camped a lot, or that guy because he was a painter, or this guy like Clive, for example. Clive is a poet, right? Clive has time to... Well, I'm not going to get into Clive and his time because Clive does a lot of things. It's unbelievable how he manages to do anything. He's a busy man. Hey, Clive, if you're listening to this, I love you, buddy. I do. But he is a busy man, right? It's and if you, by the way, dear loved one, if you happen to join the WhatsApp group, and it's in the description here, that is Clive's WhatsApp group, or he started it. I mean, he's like the moderator of it or whatever, but it's got Clive and Dom and there's a few other people on there. It's a very small group. Of course, people are always welcome to come in, and we chat it up. You'll see very quickly how busy of a man Clive is if you happen to join that group. So, and I don't get on there all the time. I can go days without being on there because I'm busy doing other things. I mean, I love them. That they're my people for sure. But so anyway, you're more than welcome to join that. It doesn't cost you anything. You can get on there and share. Just only thing we ask is don't get on there and try to like market a product or anything like that. It's not that type of group. It's for support. We're there to help each other out, encourage each other, and things like that. So there's that. But when we're able to redefine ourselves, whatever that new version of self is, it has to be a version of you that truly fits, right? Otherwise, you will risk being inauthentic. And another thing about that is you won't stick with it. Because if you're not being authentic, if you're not going to be true to yourself, then you're definitely not going to stick with it, right? So whatever this new you is when you get sober, it has to be something that truly fits, right? And there's some people who have been sober for years who have still never really found their mojo, who still never really found their groove. It's like, I still don't know who I am. It's like, well, maybe sometimes it's time to stop thinking about it and just start doing, right? I'm not trying to beat up on you, dear loved one, but if you have gone years and you're still like, I still haven't really become anything with myself other than I'm just sober, right? which that is amazing. I'm super proud of you, and I know your loved ones are proud of you. However, we do need to move on. We do need to move on with our lives. I say that because that wasn't just a random thought. That was true. I say that because there are those people who make sobriety their entire being. Like, that's what they do. And that's fine, I guess. I mean, it doesn't seem to me sustainable. Let me be more specific. There are those people out there, and you know who they are, and where they are like militantly sober. They are, well, militantly sober. I mean, I'm trying to keep it PG here. You know, they'll have the sober AF t-shirts, and I'm fine with that. In fact, whenever I do get the my sober addiction store going on, we'll probably have a sober AF version of a t-shirt, and that's fine. Of course, they don't have AF on there. They'll spell it all the way out, right? And they wear a lot of very offensive t-shirts, stuff with certain words on it that you're like, I'd rather you not wear that around my mom. That's all. Just, it's like, I'm fine with you doing that, dude, but if I'm going to bring you around to meet my mom, please don't wear that one t-shirt, okay? That's all. Because, that's all. But and then there's the overly religious ones, and they are taking life on life's terms and things like that. And I've expressed my feelings towards that living life on life's terms expression before, and I'm not really a fan of it, dear loved ones. That is one of my pet peeves, I guess, with some of the organizations out there, and I'm sorry, I'm not picking on them. I understand that the organizations have saved a lot of lives and will continue to do so. I am not picking on them. Just a few of their slogans I don't like. That's all. And it's like, okay, fine. I mean, we can't like everything about everything, right? But the whole living life on life's terms, I get that to a degree. Right? However, I'm also reminded of the serenity prayer. And it's like, okay, living life on life's terms means I just give all my control, all my everything away because I'm living life on life's terms. Because everybody uses that slogan. I think they overuse it. Maybe that's what the problem is. People overuse it. They use that slogan even when it's things that are within their control, even when it's pertaining to issues that they absolutely can control, but they don't. You see what I mean, dear loved one? It's like they say, living life on life's terms. It's like, well, but wait a minute. That thing that happened, that's something you can control. That's something you can absolutely change. It might take a little effort on your part, but so why are you going to just sit back and take that? Now, if it's out of your control, as we understand from the serenity prayer, the things that are within my control, the things that are not in my control, and the wisdom to know the difference, we need to know the difference. And if it is something that's not in our control, well, okay, fine. That's life on life's terms. I guess people get a little lazy, and they just throw that out there because they don't want to deal with it. It's like, well, that was part of the problem with our drug addiction in the first place, is in a lot of cases, it was things we didn't want to deal with. So we just went and got high. Now it's something I don't want to deal with, so I'm just going to say, it's life on life's terms. Hold on a damn minute. You're not getting off that easy. No, we don't do that anymore. We don't do that. And then, as I started to say, the overly religious types, right, where they are just kind of like the overly militantly sober types, the overly religiously sober types. I feel like it's not sustainable. I feel like eventually it's going to catch up to them, and they're going to realize, man, this just ain't me. It's not that I don't believe in God or anything. It's just this facade that I'm putting out there to the world, where I'm always all smiles, right? And it's always just everything's great, God is good, blah, blah, blah. God is good and everything is great, but sometimes shit happens. And when that happens, we got to remember the serenity prayer. And if shit's happened and if it's something that's within our control, guess what? You got to have the wisdom to know I can do something about this, and I'm gonna. The things that you got to give to God are the things that you cannot control. Remember, you're praying to have the wisdom to know the difference, right? So if it is within your control and you try to go give it to God, God's going to be like, no, this is within your control, dude. So there's that. But there's also the whole thing of it's just not a sustainable way of being. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody's out there being like, man, that's you're being a little hard on people. And maybe I am. I don't know. I want to encourage you, dear loved one, to redefine yourself, but do it in a way that you feel good about. And I mean truly feel good about. I need you to go very quietly, go inside of yourself and explore that. I'm not talking about the person you're showing to the world. And eventually that will be the person you show to the world. But before you do, I want you to go inside and make absolutely certain that this is something I'm comfortable with. This truly is me. I am a outdoorsy type. I do love my religion. And there's nothing wrong with that. But do it in a way that's sustainable. Don't set yourself up to be disappointed. Because if spirituality lets you down at some point, I don't believe it was spirituality's fault. I believe it was your expectations of it. So make sure it's something that you're okay with. That's all, I guess. That's what I'm getting at, dear loved one. The whole thing about authenticity and then redefinition of who you are after addiction. I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I mean, some people could be like, how are you going to harp on authenticity, but at the same time encourage people to change their persona? I'm like, well, your persona is just gonna change. You're gonna evolve. You're gonna mature. Especially now that you're not using drugs anymore. You know, every time something happens in your life, you're not going to go and run and hide behind drugs. You're not going to go get high. You're going to actually sit here and deal with it. Even if that means crying it out, even if that means being angry, or whatever the case may be, you're going to deal with it now rather than just go get high and numb it. So you're naturally just going to mature and grow. And as you're maturing and growing, who you want to be? What type of person do you want to be in the world? That's my question to you, dear loved one. You're going to be amazing, whatever it is, because you've seen how ugly things can be. I mean, now you're doing something beautiful, even if it hurts. Sometimes hurting brings out the beauty, right? It's like that's how they purify gold, right? They put the heat to it, burn away all the impurities. Once all those impurities are gone, what's left? Pure, beautiful gold. It's a little painful sometimes, but that's okay. So anyway, dear loved ones, yes, I screwed up the website. I didn't realize. Anyway, I messed up the website. So it's down as of this, but hopefully, depending upon when you're listening to this, the mysoberaddiction.com site, if it's not up as of listening to this, it will be soon. I did mess that up. Yes, that was all me. But, that's all right. I own it. And so, but you can still find me on X as Matt Stevens, MSA, for My Sober Addiction. And also, I am still doing videos on YouTube. And those YouTube videos are more, they're more my spiritual awakening, esoteric, metaphysical type stuff, right? Where I'm talking about anything from simulation theory to getting in touch with your higher self to meditation where you are in the void. Okay, all that. If you're interested in that, I would love to have you on the YouTube channel. Right now, it is still called Matt Stevens MSA. I have a few ideas of what I'm going to rename the channel to at some point in the near future, but not yet. When I do, it'll be in the description of these audio podcasts, and you will see then. And then come see us on the WhatsApp group, of course. That's also link is in the description. But besides that, dear loved one, I guess that's what I got for you. I love you, I really do. And I will be back directly.
There is a distance